Hey, everybody, it's Neal Brennan, This is Blocks Podcast, where we talk about things that are wrong with us. You didn't send me any blocks.
I was so late.
I can figure.
That's what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with me.
I can figure out. I can guess.
Yes.
And my guest today is a guy who was on The Soup, and then he was on Community, and now he's on Animal Hospital.
Control.
Fuck me now.
I literally looked up Animal Hospital, didn't find it, and
Animal Hospital was
there
a
were
show
a bunch
on
of
NBC, actually.
I know Bobby Lee was in it. I remember it. He's on a show called Animal Control.
Animal Control on Fox.
Animal Control.
Only on Fox.
Fox. And Crime Scene Kitchen on Fox.
Crime Scene Kitchen, what's that?
It's a competition baking show.
Bake!
I love it. Proves my point that you could just make a show up.
You can absolutely. Or House of Villains.
Is that another show you're on?
Yeah.
Wow. This guy is booked and blessed.
And desperate. And I'll take it.
And low standard of
people
material.
are making offers. I'm saying yes. I mean,
well, at a certain point, what difference does it make? No one gives a shit.
it is not like it was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or even early aughts where they were like, you can't do that.
It doesn't matter what you do. How many commercials have you done?
The number.
Yeah.
And people are like, I saw you on that thing. I'm like, what? The jackpot party?
Ready to party?
Or was it for Klondike ice cream bars?
Klondike bar.
Because I love it.
Yeah, you walk in, big money,
I'll do it.
walk out.
Yeah, and if it's make it fun, like I can't.
You know what? They don't even got to make it fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we went into this silly business, and if someone wants to pay us money to do it,
What do I care?
how lucky are we?
So, well, that's what one of the things I've always been curious about with you is how did you get into showbiz? You're tall and you're good looking. And
now I am with all the surgeries.
And thanks to Dr. Zismore
to modern
or whoever.
medicine.
Doctor from the guys from Botched.
That's right. Not to be confused with Dr. 90210. That was on
there you
E
go.
when
Sorry.
I was there.
Sorry. And what were you doing in your life? And then how did you, because to me, you came out of nowhere, but of course that's not what happened.
Well, since I was a kid, way back in New Jersey, I grew up in Seattle, but we lived in New Jersey for 2 years. Nearby where you grew up.
Philly?
Yes,
Yep.
Haddonfield, next to Cherry Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a play in first grade. I had seen The Music Man and I remember going like, look at all these people standing up and clapping for all these people. And what's happening? They're singing and dancing.
That never happens to me at home.
Yeah, no one cares.
How do I synthesize my desperation into,
Yeah, everyone just tells me I'm annoying, which I think a lot of people who watch the shows do too. But then I did a play of It's a Small World, The Ride.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a play. There's a play somewhere. There's a play.
Sure.
Which really shows you Disney's, their total lock on our culture.
Yep.
Well played. And this will be one of my blocks because I was always so dyslexic and all over the spastic. And so I just loved that. I was good at sports and terrible at school and terrible at spelling. And so I like by seventh grade, I was like, I like this. And it's
Could you
fun.
pay attention?
In class?
The ADD go away when you were doing performance shit?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't know if it was the perfect way to funnel it and to concentrate it. And I was like, oh, I can do this thing and this is fun. And it makes me, it definitely, because, ADHD can be like, you can be all over the map and then be very concentrated. Yeah. That did help a lot. And it was something I was like, I received praise for as opposed to, can't you spell the word thorough?
Yeah.
And, which to this day, thought,
who can? No one can spell it.
And thorough.
Yeah.
By sophomore year in high school, I was like, this is what I wanted. I'm going to try and do this. And so it was just sports and that and cheating through school.
Literally.
And, yes.
Cheating. I mean,
literally.
the amount of cheating, kind of openly.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to have the internet and be like, you can just look up anything.
Yeah. There's no point in knowing anything.
Or
because it's not that much slower to just look it up.
But isn't it astonishing how many people don't just look it up and insist on arguing about whatever it is? And we're like, oh, that soda, that's not great for you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then you
and then there's an
let me
argument.
look it
They're
up,
like,
and there you
there's
go.
just a way we can find out.
So then what did you do? So then did you go to college for it?
Yeah, well, I went to college and cheated through college.
Where'd you go to college?
University of Washington.
Did you play sports?
Yes, I played football. Not well, but I played.
On the team, like a scholarship?
I did not have a scholarship. I walked on. There's a huge walk-on program.
Okay.
I was recruited to be a rower, crew. And then that went horribly.
You weren't good at it.
I was good, but the rowing team, the hazing was ridiculous. And if you made the freshman boat, they shaved your head and your eyebrows off and put all your hair and eyebrow hair into a pillow. And then there was a display case of the pillows, like you were at John Wayne Gacy's home. This guy and I did not push our chairs in properly. There was also tiles that were laid out in the mess area, and if you stepped over that as a freshman, you got in trouble. And I hated all that stuff, and so we got surrounded by the rowers, and one of the dudes hit me, and I was like, 11 on 2. This isn't going to go great. And so I did not fight back, and I quit the team.
Did you have eyebrows?
At that point, the boat had not been determined. And so
okay, so you still had a full head of hair.
Yeah, this was like 2 months into the freshman year before the boat, I think, was made
You think
up.
they still do that?
They do that. I just learned they do.
And do you think that they're at a certain point,
or maybe I don't know if they put into pillows. They're definitely shaving their heads.
In the next 18 months, they're going to have to stop?
You'd think it would have. Now they've set up, I know that they've set up like websites
An
for
800
students
number?
to complain about these sorts of things, but it was so stupid. And I think it was because the rowing team, because of their lack of an audience or fans other than, the Olympics now, but the rowers going to be, but it is not a huge fan draw, but they have to make up other reasons to make themselves feel important. And so they take it out on the young people and or the younger classmates. So then I joined the football team because I knew a bunch of guys on the football team, and it was kind of on a whim, and it was great. And they care. I mean, it was dangerous, but all they cared about was winning for the most part. I mean, because the team was good, and that was like, we need to fucking beat USC this week, and so we're gonna play USC's music over and over. And we're going to dream about hitting those players. And I was like, this seems how you do it. Sure, you might be knocking someone's head off, but I was like, the team is to win games. And so that was really fun. And I got out with any major injuries. So
did you play at all?
No, I didn't
but
play.
You're playing in practice.
Yeah, I played. Freshman year, I was terrible. Then they redshirted me, which meant they kind of cared. But but then I ended up leaving because I booked a commercial.
You booked a commercial out of Washington.
In Washington.
Out of Seattle.
And I was like, I didn't really go like, this is a sign, but I was doing lots of theater at night, and I was doing football practice, and I thought, I need to kind of get serious here about what I'm doing. And then I left. And
so that's 91?
95 is when I graduated. So that was 93 when I left. Started really pursuing it.
You came down here?
No. I got onto a television show in Seattle called Almost Live.
I'm Joel, and I'm the newest cast member of Almost Live.
That was like on Comedy Central, wasn't it? Yeah.
So that was a locally produced sketch
comedy
comedy
that.
show. Yeah, that went on Comedy Central for a few years, but it was locally produced in Seattle on the NBC affiliate, which was there used to be a lot of locally produced programming all around the country, but this one really was a hit. And I came into it 10 years after it already had been on and had launched, like Bill Nye the Science Guy. Ross Schaefer was the first host, and then a guy named John Keister took over, and those guys gave me a job. And
so you're on a sketch show.
So I'm on a sketch show in Seattle. It's about 94 when that happened, 95, or I was in college while it was happening. Yeah, and so I got on this show that was we pushed Saturday Night Live to 12:05 because obviously
in Seattle.
Yeah, by the time obviously SNL,
not everywhere. Relax.
Yes, it was fine. Lorne Michaels had to approve it. Like he had.
Did he really?
Yeah, and it actually drove their ratings up. It held their ratings, which, again, I just joined this thing. I had nothing to do with the creation of it, and so we got these crazy audiences, and it was all of a sudden I was like, oh, well, this is how it works. You work at a show, and they give you a job, and then you're on TV, and
what's your inner life like? I feel like, are you like a drinker, drug person?
Oh, I love wine.
Yeah.
But I don't do drugs.
Okay.
Not yet. Maybe.
Kids are out of that empty
Today,
nest.
Ayahuasca.
Hello.
all
Somebody's done his research.
I looked you up.
Yeah.
But I look at that word. I'm like, that's just.
You don't know how to spell it.
That's a word salad that I'll never spell.
Yeah, stay away from it.
It's like these.
You don't have to spell it. You drink it.
Yeah, the acai bowls. When I see that, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
You
just go granola.
It's a kai. No,
okay.
I love wine. And
Still.
Yeah, I love wine.
So so you're doing good, and you're like, what does your family think? What do you think?
As you know, I'm assuming as you know, before you're famous, before you get on TV, someone saying you're a struggling actor might as well just be like, well, you just registered sex offenders have better chances of getting jobs.
Yep.
And at that time, I met the woman who I married, and she would come to see my like improv shows, and I'm like, and I think her mom at the time was like, "You're dating an actor? Are you crazy?" And and then I got on TV, and everyone was like, "Oh, isn't he great?" Yeah. So I got married way back in '96, and we then I thought if I'm going to go to LA, I need to become a real actor. I was like, the sketch stuff is great, and I'm having a great time.
Are you playing characters or just like guy enters?
No, I played characters to which I sent tapes to SNL, to which they absolutely ignored me. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame them. I thought I should learn how to be a real actor. And so I went to graduate school for acting at the University of Washington, which to this day has a really good drama program.
And that's like play.
Lots of plays. Very little camera practice and stuff, but it was really great for just reps. Just you're doing it. Same thing with, the sketch show was great because you're working your ass off writing sketches and just you're getting that, whatever that secret. Want to hear like 10,000 hours, man. 10,000 steps. Apparently 10,000 is the most important number.
We're officially doing a podcast now. You said 10,000 hours. Now we're podcasting.
Oh, we are.
Now it's real.
It's going to feel like 10,000 hours.
So you, looking back, how much training did you need for what you've done with your professional career?
Oof. Well, boy.
Because you kind of think like, how much better are you now than you were on the sketch show?
Oh, much better.
In what ways?
But I'm older, and I'm, I do think for me, I think some people, I was not Jim Belushi.
He meant John Belushi.
I wasn't this revelation. I think it was like, oh yeah, that guy's okay. I think I'm a better actor now, definitely, because I'm much calmer and less worried about it.
Do you think that makes a difference?
Yeah.
Being calm.
I think that, the cliche of kind of getting out of your own way. And I think it's a combination of talent and work and luck and showing up. And I think that's a ton of it. But I think I think when I finally got the Soup,
what year?
2004. That was like a really great thing.
When did you move to LA? So you finished grad school?
I finished grad school, and it was deciding to move between here and New York. Like graduate students go out and they do their showcase.
Yep.
And they're like, I got a response from these agents, and I got a response from these.
Yeah.
And I decided, with my wife, because we were West Coast people, and but more so, I was like, well, the whole business is really there in LA, and I really want to do television and movies if they'll have me. And so I got here with no, you get here and you're like, well, no agents or anything, and just started that process of, I done a bunch of commercials in Seattle and just trying to I couldn't get an agent. And then this commercial agency took their took me under the or took pity on me and were like, all right, well we'll it's not a hell no. And that's when I started booking commercials, which gave me confidence. That was just like, okay, this is beginning. All right, so at one point I couldn't get a regular agent. Because when I got here, I got onto Will and Grace. I did a co-star, just 6 lines, and I lied for the audition and said they needed people that were over 6'7", and I just lied and said I'm like 6'4", so I bought.
And short people are so dumb and easily intimidated by the tall.
They can't, and they're nearly blind.
Yeah, they're like, yes.
Yeah, they're like
he seems 6'7",
like rabbits.
Yeah,
they just like.
Hi.
So I went into the Skechers factory on Van Nuys and bought heeled boots.
Great.
So I so excited. I was like, I got on Will and Grace. I can't believe it. First year here. What a thing. And then I got an agent, and out of that was year 1. And then they dropped me a year later saying I was too green. And I went, all right. And that was really fun. And then I had this friend named Sandy Smolin, and who now lives in Seattle, ironically, Tacoma. And he was director, and he would give me little parts here and there, and which was great. And but I still couldn't get an agent. Then the soup happened because Annie Roberts, who was the casting director at E, God bless her, she saw me in commercials, and she would bring in all sketch actors and people on commercials and have them do 101 celebrity oops and do comment on pop culture stuff. And then the soup thing came up, and I still, even when that was on, I didn't, first 6 months it was on, I still didn't have an agent. My good friend.
What did you think? Was that Kinnear left? I'm very
Kinnear
old.
left,
so I remember that Greg Kinnear left in the 90s, maybe? And then
way in the 90s, yes. And then John Henson took over.
Right.
The show kept on being very successful. Hal Sparks did it a little bit. And then Aisha Tyler took the gig. And at that point, it was early aughts and daily talk shows, like the Phil Donahue's. At one point, there was 3 talk shows on after 3 o'clock every day until the news, and that kind of faded away.
It was heaven. Go on.
You missed those times.
It was. It was a paradise.
Who would have thought that Jerry Springer would have just emerged as one of the biggest
leader?
Stars? Yeah. God rest his soul.
Okay, so what is happening in your inner life? Let me get to the meat of the podcast.
Yeah, so
tell me about your inner life.
Oh, so I my wife, I'm so, this, and if you meet her, and if you meet anybody that knows her, they're like, we wanted to meet you, and then we got to know Sarah, and they were like, we're staying for Sarah. And I don't know what I would have done. I mean, we've been together nearly 30 years, which is hard to even, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And she really, she was game to, move down here from her beloved Seattle, also my beloved Seattle. But I was like, just give me 5 years and to see if I can be solvent in this thing. And it was really fun. But we still missed home. But as it started working, she hung in there for, all my ups and downs. And
what are your main downs?
I'm not happy if I don't get something. And at that point, I got here when I was 29, almost 30. And I was like, this hopefully should work soon. But if you have that, I think actors and whatever, when you're in a profession where you're basically a journeyman, where you have this,
which most people are.
Yeah.
Except 5 people.
Yeah. Where, I have friends that got jobs out of high school at Microsoft and still work for Microsoft.
Yeah.
And as long as Microsoft's around, they'll be working there, and it's good for them, and they do really well, and it's fucking great. At that point, I was just like, I wanted it badly. And I was like, I will do whatever I can to try to get, make a living in this business, because I don't know what else I'm going to do. And there was no other I didn't really have a lot of, I almost didn't want there to be any options. And this one acting teacher was like, we got to be like Japanese generals. And I was like, what? And they were like, it's either win the war or suicide. And I was like, oh, well, you put it that way. Yeah, you really don't leave yourself many other options other than for it to work. And so it was exciting, you know, like when the soup, like it was also terrifying because I couldn't really read, and like reading teleprompter is bananas for me. So
or did you figure it out?
Yeah, it's still like I need to know. A dyslexic person you never figure it out, but you figure out alternative routes to get there in your brain. Because the brain still has to go, it doesn't immediately tell you exactly what it is because it has to go different parts of your brain, which now people are like, it's an advantage. I'm like, okay, maybe. But,
sure. Spell thorough.
Yeah, you go right ahead. And so it would take me, when I first got it, I was nervous. It would take me like 4 hours to get through 22 minutes of scripted jokes. And
with the crew seemed pretty patient.
The crew was always really patient. I met one guy quit because of it. And he totally died of a heart attack like 2 years later. And I was like, guess you should have stuck with the show, buddy. No, but yeah, they were very patient. Tom, who was our stage manager, he was always so funny and so supportive. And
would you get like super embarrassed by it?
Yeah, I had a lot of anxiety over it. And then once you start and the good news was no one watched the soup for the first year. Like it was very low rated, but it was in this desert on 10 o'clock on Friday nights, which for you kids out there, people used to tune into television. And
then they would rerun it a bunch.
Yeah, they would run it like 40 times.
Yeah.
And it was so cheap for them to make at that time that it's like, well, there was nothing there before.
Yeah.
It's outrating the reruns we were showing.
Yes.
It's pennies to make.
Yes.
So, and it was good because it gave me this like time to relax and start just not being so worried. And it took me years, but to this place where I was like, oh, you're going to fuck up the prompter and that's okay.
Yeah.
And then we got to a point years later where we were doing the show live. And I would advertise it by going, I'm super dyslexic, so we're doing it live, and I don't know how this is all going to go. So here we go. And
would you have more anxiety for the live ones, or at that point were you just like, fuck it?
It was a combination of I had thankfully so much practice, and I had. The anxiety had gone down, so I was kind of like, and this is something that David Letterman in a way taught me. He did, because when he didn't like a joke, he would start repeating it.
Yep.
And then later on, he would go, Paul, do you remember how I said Purell for oily hair? And he would, and I was like, oh, that's what you celebrated. That sort of lesson, and so the adrenaline of we are live also helped focus me.
Oh, okay.
So it was always, I was like, get to the end of it, I'm like, hey, that went pretty well. And like I would fuck up and sometimes go back and redo it. And then I noticed that the audience would comment like, it was so funny when you fucked up the joke and went back and retold it. And I was like, oh, yeah, it took me, like I got to this business when I was older. So it took me, I was always like, it just took me a long time to learn these little not lessons, but like it took me a long time to get good at that. And then finally, they canceled it 12 years later, which I was like, oh, good run. Too bad I could have just walked away.
12 years of you hosting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, you ever get a stench about you because you forgot to put on your deodorant? Does that 3-in-1 shampoo leave you needing a second shower just hours after the first? From the founders of Lumi, Mando whole body deodorant is helping men conquer their odor in a new way. Formulated with mandelic acid, Mando has long-lasting 72-hour odor control that actually stops odor before it starts. Best part is you can put Mando anywhere: pits, packages, feet, skin folds, back, knees, should I go on, neck. Pro tip: try their best-selling scent, Bourbon Leather. It's a game changer. I say that firsthand experience, wearing it right now. You wish you were in my pits to experience what I'm doing right now. Bro, you don't even know. It's good in these things. Special offer. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code NEAL at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Promo code Neal. What do I like about Mando? You can wear it in your pits, and I also like it in what we call my haunches. Like a dog, I put it a little, you know what I mean? Tasteful. I've gone upper crack, as a matter of fact. The upper peninsula of my butt crack. I've used Mando on there, and it worked pretty good. It didn't burn or anything. It didn't seem to, no one, pretty uneventful, pretty good. It's a whole body deodorant, and it's seriously safe to use it anywhere on your body. Pits, belly buttons, butt cracks, stinky crevasse. Do you say crevice or crevasse? Crevasse is funny to me. Because it's like, why are you saying it like that? Stomach folds, feet, whatever. Top of feet, bottom feet, whatever you want to do. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Mando whole body deodorant is powerful enough for the toughest body odor, but gentle enough to use anywhere on your body, allowing you to put Mando anywhere on your body. And you don't have to worry about it because it's aluminum free, baking soda free, cruelty free, dye free, vegan, ding. And it's clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando, the average grundle odor level is a 0 out of 10. Can you believe it? Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code NEAL at shopmando.com. It's time to smell better naked. Your partner will thank you. And if your partner's yourself, thank yourself. No judgment. Love and love. Shop Mando. Code Neal. You start in 04. Community starts 07?
09.
09.
Yeah, and I barely got that.
How did you barely get that?
Because when I read that pilot, and I'd done a couple of pilots that didn't go or missed out on. I was on a pilot with Richard Ayoade for the IT Crowd, which is a recreation of a British one, which was picked up by NBC, and then they switched presidents and canceled it after they switched presidents. And I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, okay, but it is almost about quantity rather than when you see folks out there, when you see a hit show, there are 1,000. Yeah. The bodies of 1,000 other tries, at least along the road. And that came up, and our community script, and I was like, this is amazing. This is so good. And I really it was one of those things where I'm like, I really want it because I knew as well, it's like you can really want something, but there's so many other factors that go into it. Like, oh, the network already thinks it should be this person. They're only bringing you in because you're a straw man.
As a favor,
because,
yes. You're a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah. And Dan Harmon's girlfriend at the time, she saw this, she watched the soup, and she was like, oh, that's your guy. And so Dan ended up, he's like, yeah, let's get that guy. And then the Russos, or not that, let's get that guy in to read. And the Russo brothers were executive producers. And so we did a read, and it went well. And then Sony approved me. And I was like, this is going great. And then we met Danny Pudi, who we read with, who in the room knocked it out. Then it was like, okay, now it's your big network test. And one of the other people there was Michael Rosenbaum, who's now a friend of mine and so great, and did the audition. And they, like, the Russos came out there like, yeah, the network is really not sure. But we're going to try to fix this. And I was like, oh, fuck. So then the Russos went back and they recorded me doing it. I think they thought I was, like, the network, for whatever reason, they thought I was nervous or something. I didn't feel that nervous because I remember, I was like, I think that went pretty well. And, but.
Was it the thing of you couldn't relax?
Well, in those, usually in network tests, I started getting good at network tests because people always like, they're so awkward.
Yeah, but once you know what they are.
But once you're in there, you're like,
yeah.
all right, so this is the theater that we'll be doing this show in. And then I did it on camera, which I actually thought wasn't as good, but I was like, okay. And then then a day later, they were like, okay. And so then, it happened. I got it. And at the time, you're just making a pilot.
Yep.
And you don't know if it's ever going to get 2 steps past that. And then the pilot turned out really well, and they picked it up, which was, again, like, I remember even television reviewer, like getting to know some of the reviewers, they were like, well, the first few episodes are good, but good luck getting to a second season. It's nearly impossible. And and then there was like some scathing reviews of me in the show. I remember one review was like, "This show would be great except for the lead."
Hard not to take that personally.
Yeah, that was great. There was a guy named Brian Lowry, who I think is at CNN now. Hey, Brian.
Fantastic.
I don't forget things like that.
Why would you?
Yeah, it's
enemy for life.
Yeah, just
But you shouldn't have read it.
No, yeah, but there's no way. Now I really don't care as much as I
just don't read them.
Used to. Right. It's ignore it.
It's got nothing to do with anything.
Doesn't help.
Nope. It also doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt the chances of shit being
Anyway, that was a very long explanation so what's going on? So my brain was like workaholic OCD.
So you just wanted to work, and then if you don't work, what's happening?
I noticed, like, once it started working, I was, very happy. Like, hey, this is fucking working. I've got these 2 little boys who are the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. So you had boys what year? 05 and 08.
So you started to have a little money.
Yeah. So I solvent.
Pull the goalie. Let's go. Let's have a kid.
Let's do it. And it was, those magical, when they're that age. I mean, they're the best.
Take nothing away.
They're the best, but you don't get to cuddle with your
tiny
child as much when they're enormous, hairy men, adults. Maybe I can steal a couple hugs once in a while, but
do you have to sneak them?
Well, I'm like, I'll give you $5 for a hug. Oh yeah, that's no problem. And so it's great. But it's we went on a vacation to Mexico, and I noticed once I had kind of stopped. It was I remember the first day. I'm like, oh, now you've got a bunch of anxiety, and so
not working.
It
came rushing in.
Yeah.
And is it it's just generalized anxiety?
I don't know. It seems to be. I mean, I know everybody has it apparently. But that was back in that was back in 2010 or 2011.
So do you go, well, I got to work all the time? Or do you say, I have to take care of the anxiety?
Oh, mostly I got to work all the time. Yeah, this will fix it. And but it I mean, that it has come and it has gotten more intense and then kind of eased off. And I think, it takes on different reasons why it happens, but
okay, so how are you with parenting? Are you like it? Are you good at it?
I do love it. I like it a lot. I don't know if I'm good at it, but our friends told us way back in the 90s, like, your first job is to love the shit out of them. And I was like, okay, check that. I love them so much. It's annoying. And then, like my wife, who is a true adult, she's much more responsible than I am.
With what?
She handles the doctors and like all the little things like that. And she's a freaking saint. Like, if I'm home though, I'll do all the cooking and cleaning, and that is helpful to her and to the boys. But
how do you compare the way you were parented versus like your approach?
I guess I'm less like my parents didn't like me swearing. And I don't care if my kids swear.
And do they swear a lot?
Yeah, I would say it's an average.
Do you say like, hey, at a certain point you can't curse? Do they understand that like they can't curse?
Oh yeah,
in certain scenarios.
Yeah. No, but if my parents were, they didn't like it at all. Then on the soup, I was always swearing, and they didn't give a shit. It was
Your
good.
parents?
Yeah, they were
Well,
like,
then you're 30. What are they going to do?
yeah, what are they going to do? My mother-in-law was always like, well, I'm ready for you to be off that show. And like she said that. And I'm like, are you ready for me to stop providing for your
Yeah.
grandchildren and your
I
daughter?
am. So I agree with you with loving the shit out of them. Like it's and
number
it seems
one. Yeah.
so the hard part is loving the shit out of them in the face of them having child's interests.
Yep.
Like, right? That's the part I find I get impatient with, where I'm like, you're the best. I love you, but like, you reading anything?
Oh, well, I guess I was like, well, I can't read. And I'm like,
well, yeah,
you read.
yeah. Somebody at your reading ability, a toddler.
Yeah, my mom was and continues to be like being like they did like everyone was like, oh, my parents, like, sure, there was things, but they actually did a pretty good darn job. Like I know, like I'm just looking, like even like talking to my brothers who were all very, hypercritical of things, and we're like, they learned how to do it kind of like when we finally got to high school. It was like, okay, your curfew is going to be this freshman year, and then the next year was like, okay, it's 1 a.m. now, and then by junior year they were like, you have no curfew. It doesn't matter. You're an adult now. You figure this out and be responsible and don't be responsible and don't be a fucking idiot. And without saying fuck.
And do you?
And I was like, oh, it gave me such sort of that was such a good way to do it, because I was like, oh, that gave me. It empowered me to take responsibility for what I was doing and kind of motivated me. And then you'd see your kids and other fellow high school kids whose dads were like, they're not going out and they're never dating. And I was like, well, that person's gonna be a drug dealer, sex worker very soon. And it's
just a matter of weeks.
Just that is how the equation
goes. Can you parent that way now? Are people parenting like that now, where it's free range?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, the parents we know. I think LA gets this big, or any big city goes, how do they do it? How do you raise anybody in these cities?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. How do you raise someone on a fucking farm?
Are they drinking? Are they doing all the shit you were doing?
I'm assuming they're going to parties. And well, my 19-year-old is not. He is on the spectrum, and he would be the first to tell you. And so he's very different than he is definitely not typical, like a typical teenager.
Thanks, vaccines. Go ahead.
There you go. See? There we go.
Thanks a lot, vaccines. You took another one. It's not the microplastics, it's the vaccines.
Right.
Yeah, and you heard it here. I am Dr. Neal Brennan.
Thank you, Doctor. Hydrochloroquine.
Do you when you realized he was on the spectrum, probably not that popular 19 years ago, right? Not what it is now.
Yeah, no, not nearly. Well, it's also, I think it's, it is, it's just more, people are much more aware of it instead of, I'm like, oh, well, that kid, just keep hammering at home and maybe
shave his eyebrows.
Yeah.
And do you guys quickly realize what it was and could sort of?
Yeah, it started in grade school. We started circling in like, oh, okay, he's going to need some other scaffolding and a different way of learning. And yeah, it's a lot. There's a really great book called Neurotribes, and that was quite helpful. And my wife really, you have to kind of be the CEO. Just like any parent, you got to be the CEO of your child's life for a lot of it. But when you have a kid who's on the spectrum, it's even more so. But there's all sorts of things. So he ended up being homeschooled, not by me, not by my wife, and not in some sort of cult.
And not in a home.
Well, in our home.
No.
Yes. Excuse me, compound.
Yeah.
Our sprawling compound.
Yeah. Did you? How are you with disciplining them?
They're not doing things that are like, well, now we're taking away this. We're not those type of parents. Because that doesn't happen too much. Not like, well, so far they haven't been, or even when they were kids, like if they got shit on the walls or something, I didn't really care.
Yeah. I
was like, well, yes, this is a child. I wouldn't, let's say like, hey, why don't you take all the silverware and throw it through the windows? That didn't happen either. So it wasn't, so we were guiding them, hopefully. But now that they're teenagers, it's, like I do subscribe to what my parents did, which was kind of like, you're so close to being an adult. So there's like little things like, I don't know, we're still like learning to use the washing machines. And, but also every pop song, like, or every, Cat's Cradle or the Circle Game is right. Where it is like that ball is circling and is speeding up before they.
Yeah, it's weird because it is aggravating a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a little bit aggravating
all the time, and you also feel the time running out, like the Back to the Future. Like, this is annoying and I need a break, but I also know it's so goddamn cute and warm. Yep.
And it's hard to like know what to do.
Yeah, no, it's been set up in nature so interestingly.
Yeah.
Because you hear the cliches are all fucking true, right?
Yep.
It's hard. And it's also like, it's great.
Yep.
But then you're like, oh, well, that time he hugged me so hard, he squeezed my neck. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. But look, you made me cry. But those little moments, I'm like,
yeah.
Go ahead, go, whatever, go deal drugs.
Yeah, and
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, as long as you get your hug.
He's made so much money.
And how much do you worry about them?
All the time, right now, and a lot.
And how do you deal with that? You just go like,
I know it's unreasonable to constantly be like, what are you doing? I feel weird, like there's those apps where you can just follow your kid doing anything. I feel weird. I don't do that.
I think that's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, and so I'll be, and I'm like my 16-year-old who goes out, like he'll be at friends and he'll be like, can you come get me? And then I'll be like, yes, but he'll share his location. And then I was like, I don't want to know what he's doing.
I don't want to
go do your This is where I think teenage kids in a relatively, if you've gotten to this point with them, you like, and you haven't fucked them up. You've done something right, but you're like, this is where this brackish water between adult and childhood, and it's moving into adulthood. You have to let them hang out and figure stuff out and let them do their thing. And because I think, we grew up in relatively the same time and the same place for whiling out 2 years there. But fucking around with your friends is important. And screwing around and just hanging out. I was like, because I see these parents, I was like, these fucking activities lined up for every single moment of their life.
Yeah.
I was like, let them ride a bike to a 7-Eleven and hang out.
Yeah. And you just have to hope that they don't get in like physical harm. Yes. But like I went that time.
That's been
15, 16, 17. I'm literally doing acid.
There you go. And every single I want to know the generation. They were like, nobody got hurt. I don't know how it happened. We finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Between 1933 and 37, we figured it out.
That was we were getting ready for World War II. They were safe for a bit, and then Hitler invaded.
Oh no! It was the middle,
and then it was over.
It was also the middle of a crushing depression.
Yes, so long safety
and incredibly repressive laws
yes.
to minorities. There was never a good time, and never a bad. It was just like good old times don't like the good old days do not exist.
Okay, now that we're talking about this, how much support financially will you give your kids, and for how long?
I don't really know. I don't have a goal. I don't have a set thing. It's like
do you have
like
a rule?
$100,000 a month?
No, but I'm saying, do you have a rule of like, I'm not giving you fucking money. Like you're getting, I'll give you a little something for a little something. But in terms of it's Shaquille O'Neal one time said about his kids, like,
we ain't rich. I'm rich.
But there's no we. So what I'm curious about is like, what's your plan?
I remember I took it to Donald Glover's dad. He said this thing where he would walk in the room and start turning the lights on and off and go, who pays for this? And I have totally stolen that. So I think I have a unique situation because like the kid on the spectrum, he's not out spending a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the clothes he likes wearing, and that's pretty much it. And the 16-year-old, this is the perfect attitude that a kid whose dad, like, I like cars, and when I go out, I will wear nice clothes. And he, like, I've never told, I don't know, he'd probably be mad. Well, he'd probably be okay with this, but like, I picked him up in my Porsche at school, and he was like, don't ever pick me up in this again.
Why?
He was like, it's too much. It's too much. And
It's like it's too calling attention to it.
yeah, it's like,
to
this is,
you or your family or him.
yeah, this is calling attention. He's like, I don't want to, yeah, don't pick me up in this.
So does he not go to school in California? Don't they all have? Isn't it
There
all
you go.
Porsches?
And then I have a restored Land Cruiser, beautifully restored.
Yeah.
I picked him up in that, and he was like, this one's worse.
Yeah, well, because then, people know how much money went into it.
He was like, just pick me up at the
School bus.
the block, just the top.
Get
of
a
the block.
school bus. Be fun. Do it.
This school doesn't have school buses.
Oh.
You gave me a great idea. I'm going to buy a school bus,
That's what I'm saying.
but it's going to be fucking
Refurb it.
amazing.
Really murder it out,
It's going
bro.
to be really nice.
So he's a little embarrassed by your status.
I
have a question about your status and your
Yeah,
wanting
what
to
is
dress
it?
well. Wanting to dress well.
Not
That is a great
A-list.
question.
Is it
It's
C-list?
as legitimate a question as I've heard. What is your status? But what I'm curious about is why this is just a vanity thing. Why do you wear nice clothes?
I like them.
What about them?
I always have. That is a good. I don't know. Like my little brother and my older brother didn't really care,
Yeah.
but I was always like I was obsessed with it. So I was a clothes horse. So
And
I don't know what put the gene.
what about
in
the
my-
working out? Because did you always work out? Because it seemed like I feel like at a certain point you unveiled your body. Am I wrong? There was like a point where I was like, oh, that guy's ripped. And of course I didn't like it.
Oh,
I wanted you to be lanky.
that was because of Community, which at that point I had never taken my shirt off on camera.
Yeah.
So I always, did work out.
Okay.
I was different levels of muscularity
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's part of my ADHD is that it was like running a golden retriever. Like, here's the fucking
Great.
ball until you collapse. So like
How
before-
often?
Every day.
Still?
Yes. And even more so, I think the pandemic, which as we know is a hoax, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Dr. Neal Brennan. Dr. Joel McHale. We'll be
Yeah,
right back.
thank you. It's looking great. And sorry. And I was a marathon runner for a while, but then before when I had time, but like when the pandemic hit, I was like, I have to work out every day or I'm going to go crazy. Because the anxiety was high at that point, and I'm like,
The anxiety of not working?
not working. What the fuck is happening? I have a 6th grader and a 9th grader, and this is a terrible, thankfully we have space, and because I know like so many other people had it so much worse.
Almost everyone
Yeah,
had it worse.
almost everyone, and
Had it worse
still
than
I
you.
was like, "What are you complaining about, asshole?" And but that's where my is working out every day is part of part of who I always have been. So, but different
And
levels.
that's just
But I did have
managing-
like comedian friends way back when were like, you can't be super in shape.
I know. That
And
used to be the
there's just such bullshit.
Yeah, that used to be the like accepted wisdom.
Which just was stupid
This
and
is
wrong.
not true.
Anyway, that all said, yes. So, so definitely it's vanity wanting to look good. But I'm being 52. There's a side of me that's like, I need to stay around for quite a while if I don't get hit by a helicopter falling on this building. But I was like, if I can maintain this shit for a bit, then we'll be okay. But I want there to be quality of. I want to be able to walk around. And
Okay, so this is about you want to stick around. You're not talking about professionally. That not chiefly.
Oh, I think it's a multiple combination.
Because you're still like, there's something boyish about you. Do you know what I mean? You're not a man.
not my liver.
You're not a man. I'm going to be honest. You're not a man. I'm a man. You're not. No, I'm kidding.
How dare
no, but
You're-
there's something
you got-
boyish about you. So I'm wondering if you still feel like there's something hot shotty about you. You know what I mean? There's something like
Yeah. Well, that's what. That's why I
like
play.
cutting to you. It's like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? Like I'll watch it, but it's
You're like that asshole.
no, but it's just more like, oh, this guy's like sort of confident and like walks in and like shits on, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
sort of a
Oh well, that is
paradigm,
also
like the Bill Murray Chevy
right.
80s
Chevy
thing.
who? There we go. No. Hey Chevy, shout out. I think that also comes from my I'm an extreme extrovert, right? Love people, love
You
talking
really
to-
do. So it's you're an extrovert. You get energy from talking to people.
I gain energy from being with people, from socializing. It charges me up, and definitely.
Your wife, same thing.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
Shit. And we got to we have like an agreement where if we go to a party, she'll absolutely be like, "All right, see you when you get home," and I'll stay.
2 cars, or
Yep.
Uber.
Uber. Yeah.
Yep.
Because if I'm drinking, I don't want to, hop in.
You have to drive an Uber.
Yeah, I
you
can't.
have to do a
I
shift. You
hire
don't
someone
want-
like, sorry.
Yeah, you got it. You
Hi,
got
welcome. 5
you
stars.
gotta-
I know you can smell the liquor
Yeah,
on
it's
my
Joel
breath.
McHale. I'm drunk. Yeah, whatever. It's
Yeah.
cool though, right? I mean, remember?
Yeah, I've always had that. I think people always expect that I'm going to be a dick, and I might be. But I think that's also why I've been cast so many times as a dick. So,
Right. I don't. But you look like it. You're not. I look like a different kind of dick, and I'm not. I look like a stern, like nerdy dick. Like I'll be dicky with my intelligence, whereas you'll be dicky with your confidence. And
Well, I will say, a person I work with, when she saw the schedule, she was like, "He is the hottest." Talking about you,
don't mind if I do.
and she was just like, "That
boy,
that's the guy." And
man.
and she's Jewish, and she was like,
You didn't have to tell me she was Jewish. I knew
And
she
she was like,
Jewish.
I thought he was Jewish. And I was like, oh.
No, I
was like,
can
you
almost
really did your
picture her.
research.
I can almost picture this girl. So
But you also have, you photograph very well and in person very well because you might be selling yourself short on your
bony.
looks.
I don't. Well, you'd say I photograph pretty well. Look at the comments next time I do Rogan, or
I
last
thought
time
we
I did
weren't
Rogan.
supposed to look at the comments.
You don't, but I can. Some of them seep in. Oh, here you go. This is what people thought of my last press run. I did the Google thing where you type in your name and then see what comes up. The third thing that comes up is Neal Brennan sick. So
Because you're
I look sickly
well, you're
to
svelte.
people,
You're a
right?
svelte
Which
man.
is sickly in America.
Well, that's the other, like,
Health is sickness in America.
if we go back to, my high school, like, people our age, I don't know what the age is where people are like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to move anymore. I'm just going to
Yeah.
sit and
Yeah.
I'm going to eat like I'm 18.
Yeah.
That alone, that war of attrition, I know I'll win because I'm like, well, people are like, you look great. I'm like, yeah, because other people in my age range start not looking
this
great
is
'cause they don't care.
by deep. This is not. This is everyone else foot faulted. Everyone else
Yeah,
fucked up.
they-
Everyone. No one else is even trying. I don't like. You know when you see people from your high school and you're like, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is how you take care of yourself. Like you couldn't no propecia. You have to remind me exactly how old I am.
Yeah, I transplanted all this shit.
Of course
Come
you
on.
did. Come on.
I transplanted all this
All
down
this is
here.
you
It's all
have the
up here.
electrodes on your gut on your fucking abs
I
right
do
now,
not.
baby.
Ugh. Ugh.
So it seems like you've had a pretty good life. It seems like you got a pretty favorable personality,
I've
sociable,
yeah,
attractive, tall, the right transplant at the
Athletic.
right time,
You didn't-
athletic, football, two-sport athlete.
well, a few more.
Great wife.
Tennis.
Tennis.
No, I know that. Like when I look at it, I was like, "Fuck!" I'm very lucky and very blessed, and can't believe it. And because like when you make this plan, like I'm fucking acting, and I can't believe this woman agreed to go out with me. Like those things, like to this, like and people are like, "Wow, it's gone all right." I'm like, "Yeah, it's gone all right." And then I'll be like, how come it's not gone better? How come I don't have, how come I didn't really, I was like, well, I really didn't break into movies that well.
Right,
I'll do
but
shit like that.
but I said to a friend of mine a long time ago, scoreboard is always wrong. In Hollywood.
That is so
it's
right.
always wrong.
Yeah,
and
that is it.
When you think you got a huge lead, you don't. When you think you're behind big, you're not.
That is it. And my imposter syndrome can go off the charts. And
you're just going to die with imposter syndrome.
Yep. Unless there's that one small chance that I'm that human being who doesn't ever die.
There's a party that's holding out.
Just
yeah.
Maybe magic is real. And
ayahuasca, I can tell. Look,
yeah,
if you're serious about ayahuasca, we could talk about it.
No, I saw, and then obviously it became like the pickleball of drugs.
Ayahuasca is the pickleball of drugs.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good way to put it. Okay, so what do you make of your life?
Like when my self-loathing and imposter syndrome pops up, sometimes I have to go, okay, just calm down. It's gonna be all right. And you have to look around. I kind of look around sometimes, and not that I'm like touching my stuff, but I'm like, it's all right.
The funny thing is, I bet there are days where you forget about community.
Oh yeah.
And then you go, oh fuck.
I do. Oh yeah.
And then you go, oh fuck, I was on that for 6-7 years.
It's amazing how often you can hit that. I'm just starting out again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're.
Well, it doesn't. Your body isn't. I don't think we're supposed to live this long or something. There's something about it where you go, I have, and I've been telling people on the podcast, I do a checklist several times a day and sometimes it's literally my possessions.
Yeah. No, there's something going.
Sometimes it's literally like the facts of my life.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to forget, and it's so easy to get caught up in threats and anxieties, and it's like, just fucking
absolutely
chill, baby.
Yeah. I think it's also the nature of being in our business, which is, and like many businesses, but as you said, but like it really is like, well, what did you do for me today? And
right.
And I'll be, I will go do stand up or something, and I'll be like, I will be filled with a sense of dread, especially if I haven't done it for a while. I'm like, I don't know if it's fucking work. But then, you meet people that are like, fucking nailed it again. I'm like, what the?
No, well, yeah, but that's a whole other issue. But I'm saying, like, it's going great for me and you. I'm talking about you, but it's going it's going.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us.
We're on.
Hello, a self-produced podcast. How could you? But it is going incredibly well, and not like I hope you appreciate it in a guilty way. It's just like, no, it's went really good.
It can also become a pretty annoying disease, constantly like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not great. All that stuff. But also just taking a moment to go be thankful.
Yeah.
And I understand that, like, whatever, people believe in all sorts of different things, but I feel like that's a universal, like, be thankful for your, like, this earth is always beauty and terror all the time. And people are like, it sucks. Yeah, but it's great too, being here. And so being thankful for that, and that will melt some of the, you can
replace
calcium.
it. You can literally replace one feeling with another feeling if you focus on the new feeling.
Have you done that?
I do it 4 times a day.
How do you do it?
I have a spiral notebook, and I just write the date and then number 1, and then I go this.
Oh, I should do that.
And then I only did it once yesterday, which is the worst day I've had in 3 months in terms of gratitude. And then today I've done it. I'll do it when we're done. I'll go home and do it. And if I don't have the notebook, I'll just do it on a piece of paper in my car, because you can replace your feelings with a different feeling.
Yeah.
It's like acting. It literally is like acting.
Yeah.
Where you just go, oh no, it's amazing what the body does.
Yeah. It's like if you start screaming in terror for fun,
eventually
you'll be terrified.
And also if you laugh, same thing.
Yeah. It was what Craig Ferguson said it a couple times. It was like, when you stare into the abyss is staring right back at you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's real.
Yes. It also, you become abyss.
Yeah.
You just become abyss. Dick Gregory is there's an audio recording of him saying that if it's about entertainment, but he's talking about if you watch The Sound of Music, you're watching The Sound of Music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the spirit of The Sound of Music just gets in you, right? The doorbell rings. When you go to answer the doorbell, you're still the sound of music.
Yeah.
And like, you still have that energy. And he's like, and on stage, the audience becomes me, but you can just trick your own fucking dumbass body into it.
Yeah.
Into really I can be dark and spiteful, and I can just remember to not be. I can remember to be grateful, and I'll just be grateful. And it's so simple, you can't believe it works. It feels like cheating, and it is, I guess. I mean, but it seems cooler to be like, the abyss.
It's so...
Do you guys know about the abyss?
First of all, there's the claymation song, just put one foot right in front of the other, and then you'll be walking out the door. And I was like, that's right. Just fucking do it.
I can't.
I was like, oh
dispute
yeah.
it.
Let's just, get a bunch of Advil. These knees work again. But people always would feel like, comedians are so dark. They're so, you need to have that, right? And I was like, no, you need to be funny.
Yeah.
Because there's all sorts of people that are dark and fucked up, but they're,
Yeah, Mulaney had the joke about Robin Williams. He's like, you know how many people are depressed and aren't funny at all?
No, there are depressed people who don't even have the decency to be great comedians.
Not funny at all. He was depressed, but he was fucking hilarious. So,
Yes.
And then they go, so dark. No, it's just, I've never written a joke from rumination or brooding.
Yeah.
I've written jokes from just going, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to mock that.
I'll be like, Adam Sandler, he's a pretty, from knowing him a little bit, he's like, he's a fucking hilarious person. One of the funniest people.
Yep.
And
as kind of guys you'll ever meet.
I was like, he has obviously done like that 9/11 movie he did, which was extraordinary what he did, or Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Right.
The guy he might have demons that I don't, but but people, I was like, you don't need to walk around scowling all the time.
No.
And be like, it's just trying to be cool, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all. I have no further questions.
What the fuck?
It's real. It was nice to get to talk to you because I had curiosity and I want to know.
I came in with some anxiety, not about
Did you
this.
really?
I'm just like, what am I nervous about right now? And I'm like, I couldn't put my finger on it.
What was it?
Oh, probably about my kids.
About that girl, that Jewish girl that Jewess thinking I'm hot.
Oh my gosh. I can't. I don't feel like I'm allowed to say that word.
Jewess?
No, hot.
Oh, not now.
Wait,
no,
is
not
Jewess
with what's happening with Gaza?
Ugh, hot?
Good. God, so long, everybody.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, man.
I didn't even get to tell you how much I love your stand-up.
Oh,
So,
no, you didn't. Well, go ahead. We're done.
That's why I love your stand-up.